contamination. If I can actually fucking pronounce that, contaminate. Oh my goodness! Great, this is a great start. Containment, containment, containment. It's the name of the game, and that's exactly what you guys are conspiracing. Conspiracing?
Inspiring.
Yes, yes, of course. Experiencing as all the city watch has this street under lockdown. Above your heads, you can see the circling, occasionally squawking, loud griffin and rider atop of it, circling around the still somewhat smoky scene of Trollskull Manor as the street has been cordoned off, and the full strength and power of the law has come swiftly down to secure this site of pain and suffering. You guys had examined the bodies. You managed to do that, and I believe one of you is invisible. Is that not true?
Maybe Laz. I don't.
If he has the invisibility spell, let's say it's him.
Okay.
Okay, Adrian. Yep. Okay, let's have a look at his sheet. Spells. No, he doesn't have invisibility.
Oh, ignore me then. Whoever was invisible, they're no longer invisible. But we can't remember them, so it's a moot point. However, these two gentlemen who are immediately distinguishable upon coming closer, one Barnabas Blastwind and one Safe Cromley, approach into the street and make themselves known along a variety of constables and lieutenants of the city watch that make themselves come and begin to inspect and question some of the many residents that are around here. You may have remembered that they already questioned Fowler, your neighbor across the street earlier, about the scene. As a reminder, she responded to them, "I was watering plants in the greenhouse on the second floor of my shop when the blast blew out some of the windows. Luckily, I wasn't injured. Though the smoke, I saw a cloaked man take something from the body of a dead gnome, then start limping away. He was badly burned and casting glances over his shoulder like he was afraid someone might be following him. He was headed toward the bent nail." That much you had concluded and overheard, and you had managed to inspect the bodies before any of the guard or constable got there with your extreme speed and eagerness to do so, and you did discern that there were a couple of innocent bystanders, but there were a few people with black snake tattoos. And then there was one individual that really caught your eye, a gnome in very shady garb and with crusted, burned sort of dirt over the bottom of his cape and his shoes, and who your paladin recognizes in height as a small figure that was trying to come to you guys last night at your party that you hosted and did very well for. So with all that being said, with a variety of smaller constables that make themselves known in the scene, you guys are basically kept outside of your home, kept to the side in case there's a fire that suddenly makes itself known to you. And you know you're given a blanket to put over your shoulders, even though none of you need it. But you know it's there as the comfy hug of law. A small grey towel. You are each distributed one and a name tag. It's just like being home. Now, after this, you will find yourselves being approached by this fellow. And Lazelm, being a member of the Watchful Order of Mages and Protectors, instantly recognizes that this is a well-known magical detective of sorts. If not a detective, more a sort of man to review a scene and to deconstruct it, to really just like Sherlock his way backwards across magical mishaps and what have you. And this, of course, makes him a prime man for just such an occasion when a fireball is blasted in broad daylight. A very, very serious act. With this, he comes forward to you all, and he begins by going, now then, I won't take too much of your time. I appreciate that you've been woken and disturbed pretty roughly. The scene of gore outside your doorstep no doubt abhors you to your very core as it does to mine. But I will be needing to ask you, why your property, might I ask? Was it that these bodies should be so conveniently stacked right beside, and so easily blown apart, that there should be both innocent and less savory sorts burned alive right in front of your home? Do you have any explanation for this?
So Megara sort of puts it. She puts her hand up as if like she's back in school.
And he acknowledges it. He adjusts his little focal glasses, and they are cool. They're emerald tinted, and he looks very fancy with his blonde beard and handlebar mustache and curly baby-like golden locks on his head. And he basically goes, "Ah, yes, very well. Why don't you care to give me an answer, young miss?"
Well, we had a party late into the night last night, and we had some rather. There was a rumor that we may have had the Open Lord at our place. I do not know if we did, but that is what our guest had said himself.
Oh, I see, for Heaven's Day. Ha, well, I can assure you, if Lady Silverhand was to deign your presence, even in disguise, I can assure you that she would have armed guards and silent magical assassins the likes of which you've never seen before attend her. Upon her own magical repertoire, that would have been an easy counterspell, as she is no novice to magic. If such a fireball was to grace her presence, she would have dispelled it. And if she was not present when the fireball was set off, then the one doing the casting would have been a novice, and such devastation is not the work of a novice.
Well, I mean, you can be well, to use a rather not nice word, you can be a total idiot and still be a powerful person.
Quite true, quite true. It's all possible, but none that get under our radar. No, especially not when it's targeted in such a way. For example, well, you almost had me talking there, young miss. I better keep my eye on you.
She just sort of looks a bit confused at that.
Well, obviously he's got details he mustn't share to the public.
Yeah.
So he almost started spilling the beans despite his years of practice. He just goes, "You're so easy to talk to. It must be that charming repertoire that I'm getting from you, young miss. Perfectly delightful. Though I wish I wasn't standing less than 15 feet from a dead halfling child while I say that."
Yes, it is horrible. I could never imagine something like this would happen to us right in front of our tavern. We would. This is gonna give us a bad reputation when we're trying to open a restaurant.
Maybe perhaps somebody was trying to discredit you. What about you, little one? He says, talking to Ponk. And he goes, do you have anyone you might think that would try to discredit your uprising business? Surely there might be someone that might act, in other words, dissavory sorts.
Hmm. Let's see. Out of characters, I have a name, but I wonder if Pong would say that because Pong is not the person, is not the type to like just gonna go out and execute someone.
Okay.
Well, we just recently opened a restaurant. I assume that if someone was to be displeased, they'd probably be displeased at the fact that we are doing well. Um, so far, I don't know any other competitors around surrounding this area. This district though.
Right. Very well, young one.
But
Oh,
to
small.
go so far as to trying to place an explosive and try to blow us to smithereen, that's is a new law. If whoever was pissing off of us doing being a good upstart.
No, see, any local here would know better than that. No, I believe it's likely not somebody who had a disagreement with you. That would be too preposterous. And no, that could not be the case, no. Right then, well, that about concludes all that I have to ask for. Um,
Ooh,
oh, you have a question, young
actually,
miss?
I just I heard about this from actually now that I think about it, probably didn't hear about it from Adrian.
It's,
I was going to mention the adventure down into the sewers
oh,
before Megara joined,
oh, okay.
but I'm not sure if Megara would actually know that if like, you know, Adrian or even Ponk would have mentioned it.
Adrian will keep his mouth stum. He doesn't fancy that it's any of his business, and he doesn't consider that it relates. Kind and well-meaning as he genuinely just feels like this isn't necessarily to take up his time. Um, but anyway, yeah. He basically just carries on and he goes, well, alright then. That's all I had to ask you. You carry on your day. Were you insured?
What?
He curls his handlebar mustache as he goes, "Oh my, I better leave you till you can discuss your finances." And he basically moseys on all over to the next group to talk to and interrogate.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Were we insured?
Well, if any case, this does not bode well for our business. Hmm.
No, it doesn't. You did so well off the bat. Right then. So as you can see, they continue to make their way around, um, and Megara, I want you to give me a persuasion check, please. It's a bit late, but
Okay.
I want a persuasion check, please.
Okay then. Uh, Luckily, I did take that extra level in Bard, so now I have Jack of all
Mm,
trades.
very nice. You weren't proficient in persuasion as a bard?
Actually, I was. I thought it just still added an extra bonus anyway, but I guess not.
No, that's for all the things you are proficient with. Just give you up.
Yeah.
So Safe Cromley goes around and he talks to a kind of wealthy-ish Waterhavian woman, and they talk to a little 12-year-old halfling boy who seemingly is kind of very shaken, or he's a bit cold in the sense that he's too shook up to understand how scarred he is yet. But they do their rounds, and this Barnabas comes by, and he simply says, right, well, I reviewed your street. I've concluded the following. And I don't mind sharing this, since you all were. You may need to claim it in your insurance policy, I have no doubt. But. This is what I have concluded thus far. The gnome was running from 4 armed pursuers, of which there were 3. The third person who was chasing the gnome isn't among the dead. The gnome and his pursuers are moving toward a tavern in Tall Skull Alley, which I have every suspicion to be your property. Neither the gnome nor his pursuers saw the blast coming. Neither of them were magically endowed or otherwise knowledgeable, and there was, in fact, a fourth party to this. There were the victims, the pursuers, the gnome, and the fourth, whoever the spellcaster was who sent out that fiery death ball.
Can I roll something to forensic proof this theory?
To forensic proof this, that would be an investigation check.
Right.
Um, you feel like there's some holes in it, like a fourth person. Where was he firing from? Who was he? Nobody had any
Who
clue
was
about this.
he?
Yeah.
Was it from a grassy knoll? It's probably not from the grassy knoll.
Barnabas basically just goes, well, yes, ponder on it as you see fit. I know I certainly will. But keep in mind, we will find whoever launched that fireball. And it will spell. Well, it will probably result in death, quite honestly. Like, magical murderings in broad daylight, just from an unknown assailant. Death of about 5 to 6 others? No, he will most certainly be found dead. Most certainly. Well, good day to you. And he finally stumbles off, and the rest of the watch begin to move away, leaving beside a garrison of about half as many that entered, just to keep watch of the area for a day. With that, they leave. And I'd like you guys to tell me what you get up to next.
So Megara, kind of just out of shock of the whole thing, is trying to she goes back into the tavern and she starts just like almost as like a response to the fact that this happened right at the front. She's just gonna start cleaning up, even if even if the tavern doesn't really need to be cleaned. It's just sort of like that sort of calming nerves response.
Yeah, no, I understand. I understand totally. So yeah, that's a fair reaction. Um, as for the rest of you, your paladin basically says that after being pulled away by a constable or two, he comes back and goes, listen, guys. I've been advised by my local church and temple that I must escort the bodies to their various temples now that they've been investigated or something like that. I got to escort them out of here. I'd suggest we get a good look at them before we move them on, but I know we already looked over the gnome and whatnot, but they'll be shifting along soon, and I gotta help them do it.
Sure. Let me give a quick glance to the body for last time. Maybe we can find something a little bit.
Well, to rephrase what has been mentioned before about these guys, there was one elderly female who was out for a walk. Two cloaked male humans, both clad in leather armor with sheathed long swords, and had the black snake tattoo on them. Two female humans and one half elf dressed in plain clothes. One male gnome who had his cloak burned and while he was clutching a dagger, and two female halflings with a burned flute and fiddle right beside, along with two male halflings who were dancing, all the which are around the sort of 10 to 14-year-old age group.
Okay. First thing first. What do I need to roll to at least predict the trajectory of the fireball?
That's an investigation, and with your 4 earlier about the whole crime scene, the only piece of evidence you can conclude was that it was slightly up. It was higher. That's all you can conclude.
So it's from the high ground coming down.
Somewhere, yes, but you have no indication where from there. It could have been right on your roof, for you know, or it could have been 2 miles away. You just figure it has to be higher up.
That's unfortunate. Well, I stump. What do you guys think?
Well, goddammit.
Well, you're indoors, Megara, and Lazem is going to be inside with you, currently just like resting and whatnot. And Ponk, you just continue to sort of mosey along, and after getting a good look at the bodies, your paladin goes to collect them and starts helping the constables move them out of the street. Now then, in a side tangent, Saki and Magnus, you both were lured in by what you thought was going to be a nice, new, cozy drinking place in this part of town. This town being Waterdeep, and this part of it being the North Ward. And you thought you were going to find a nice, cozy place to settle in for a day. You had known each other just for the past 2 days or so, as you were both hunting down a comfortable place to sort of share a room at a cheaper price. Not gay, mind you, just sharing rates in a city centre. They're extortionate rates. You know, you're just hoping for somewhere a bit cheaper. You know, just a youth hostel, really, of this mega city. But what you come to find is that once you are seeing the dead moving out of this street, your attention is immediately sort of dragged in as you come to see the site of the manor you were going to treat yourselves to as a site of murder and of devastation. As you come in, you review the scene, and in this little corner, you can see that there is a little male halfling boy, no older than 12 or thereabouts, barely even an adolescent, and he's currently like stooped low, sat down behind a very large filled water barrel that's on the middle of the street here. Outside of this, you can see that there are shop owners and sort of gossiping, talking noble women and men, along with many manservants that are all kind of gasping and talking about this in hurried, kind of exasperated tones, while this little halfling boy is sat here all alone quietly, off to the side. How do you both choose to respond?
Right, so basically I turn to the half boy and then I say, does he speaks common, right?
You both speak common. That is the all-round universal language for creatures that want to speak to one another, usually.
Okay. So basically I turn to him and then I'm like, Jesus, what happened here?
I think he was asking Mackie.
Oh, it turned to me?
Yeah.
Oh. Oh. My, I can't imagine. Such horrors. Seems half the street has been blown away.
So many dead, what happened?
Well, if you
Excuse
felt like investigating around a bit more, you might consider talking to some of the locals. You haven't come this way of town too often, but yeah, it might be a course of action just to ask around what happened.
Right, yeah, let's do that. Let's ask around what happened.
Yeah, I approached the halfling boy.
So he's there, and make a perception check for me, please.
Yes. Perception.
Okay, he's holding on to something and he's huddling something, but you can't quite see what it is as he's hugging it close to his chest. But he looks up at you nervously as you approach.
Excuse me, young man.
He
Do
just
you
goes,
know what?
Oh, go on.
Can you explain what happened here?
I don't know. I don't really know what I saw. All I kind of, I don't know. My friends are playing in the street a little bit, and I was just playing over here. I didn't like to dance, and they loved to dance, and the girls really liked to dance with them. And then I just heard this ploop, this bloop little sound come down right near this barrel, right near this one. He says as he pats the barrel, and right after the explosion, I ducked behind it, and then I heard that plop, and I found this in the barrel. And you notice he shows you a necklace of fireballs. I'm going to allow that you can see this because it is a very well-known kind of magic item, and I don't mind showing it to you guys, and I don't mind the details of it being made known. But essentially, a necklace of fireballs has these chained beads to them that you can rip off and throw at a moment's notice. And what you can see is one of these that has only 2 of the little gems remaining around it. How do you respond?
Oh, this must be the weapon used. Can I have a look at that?
It's mine. I want it.
You'll probably only hurt yourself with that.
No, it's mine. I don't want to give it to any mean adults. It's mine.
Can you
But you said you just found it there, no?
Right. Finders keepers.
Right, but do you know how to use this item? This item appears to be magical.
Sure I do. And you see that he dangerously goes for one of the beads.
Careful.
Okay. I believe you. Good. Relax. It's fine. Were these guys inside your friends?
They are my friends. Yeah. They were my friends. Yeah.
And how did you think that that explosion happened?
Well, there was probably some really bad guy who was using it on them, or was trying to go after somebody else, and they got caught up. But that guy doesn't have it anymore. Whoever he was, this is. Well, I mean, like, if I have it, then I can't give it to any bad guy. It's mine. I protect it. If you want, you can choose to do an intimidation or persuasion check if you like.
Okay. Do you really trust yourself to keep that under control all the time?
Give me a persuasion or intimidation check now. Yeah, he basically just goes and I mean, maybe might be better if maybe it might be better if I did give it to you. You promised to find the guys who broke this necklace and burned all my friends.
How do
Of
you know that
course.
someone broke that necklace?
Well, look, and he shows you that the clasp that otherwise locks the necklace at the back of the neck has clearly broken the links, as if it has been snagged off.
Right. And are you certain that it wasn't you who tried to steal that necklace?
No, of course not. It fell down into this barrel and went plop. I heard it as I was hiding behind it. I was hiding from the fireball. I couldn't have stolen it. I couldn't have stolen it and hide from the fireball at the same time.
Can I inside check him and see?
Yeah, you can absolutely insight check him. Yeah, definitely.
Right. How do I just click on it? Or how do I?
Yeah, you click the insight skill as it appears on your character sheet on the left-hand side. Excellent.
Right.
He's being truthful. He's telling the truth.
Okay.
All right then. But Magnus, he hands over the necklace to you.
Thank you, young man. You made the right choice. And make sure to find the bastards who did this and bring them to justice.
Yeah, well, yeah, thank you, sir.
Do you live around? Are you from the city?
I live around this ward. My family, I'll find them and I'll go home soon. Promise.
I mean, if we want your help, like we're new in the city, and if we need your help in the future, could you maybe show us around?
Um. Okay, sure. Just wait a second over by the burnt building, okay?
Uh, okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay. He fucking legs it. He just gets out of there and he starts like skirting around some of the corners and like holding onto some of the bars, and he runs around and like just skirts his way past a small little alleyway and is gone. Yeah, you just come to the front of Troll Skull Manor, and here you can hear a kind of nervous sort of cleaning going on. It's difficult to know what a nervous cleaning sound is, but this is the first time you're hearing it, and you're seeing that inside there's a little kobold dressed in gi, currently like pacing about nervously, as well as a refined kind of thin-looking noble nearby the tiefling maid that seemingly is here, trying to settle her nerves. And yeah, you guys can respond as you see fit.
So they are inside the building.
Yes, they are. You
Yeah.
can clearly see them from the porch.
Okay, so I approach.
You do so.
Uh,
And
So-
yeah, go on, Nate. Go on, Megara.
So yeah, Megara. I'm gonna roll perception just to actually see if she noticed them coming in or if she's
Oh,
too lost
the
in,
front door is blasted wide open. You can see the
Okay, yeah.
paladin approach, definitely.
So
Um,
she immediately goes into welcoming mode, and she just puts the cloth away and is basically right in front of them before they can even realize what's happening. And she's like, "Welcome, welcome. Well, we're kind of I guess we're close." She says, looking over at Adrian, and then she's like, "Maybe we aren't, but welcome anyway. This is Troll Skull Manor, where we don't exactly have anything on the menu at the moment, but
well, I can go make some drink if you guys want. It's not gonna be a very like kicking up the notch, but if you're willing to come and doesn't mind that open door that we haven't closed yet, feel free. Take a seat. I'll be right
Oh
back.
yeah, I'm actually starving. Might try some, even if it's like the worst food in the city.
No, very well.
Thank you.
So you guys follow in with the nice, careful, considerate hospitality you're receiving. Make yourself comfy over in their sort of first floor. Oh yeah, your venue of crowd have now since moved on since Angharen's day. I guess you still got one straggler from the night previously, who's just making himself comfy in here. But otherwise, excuse me, everything is as you remember it. It's still in need of a bit of a thorough cleaning and perhaps a bit of a deburnifying kind of tender grace to it all.
I'd say Megara would instantly also put like the kettle onto the oven to start onto the stove to start making like a pot of tea or coffee.
Tea and bags can be strained through a bit of netting, so I don't see any reason why that can't be achieved. Yeah, totally can do tea.
Yeah, I mean, coffee and tea have been around for a long time, but
Yeah.
yeah. So she'll start basically just basically put the kettle on and maybe see if there's like any leftovers of like what was it? We had a bit of a
Oh, I remember. You had a sewer alligator.
yeah.
Yeah, you got some Thanksgiving sort of sandwich. I mean, you are a baker, so you can absolutely get some stuffing and alligator meat sandwiches.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
so-
like that. We can make
Yeah,
a quiche. Crocodile quiche.
Well, she's thinking like, these are customers, so the only thing that we really have on the menu at the moment that's easier to access is probably leftovers from last night. So, thinking
Great.
they're customers, she's gonna basically give them a breakfast of sewer alligator sandwiches.
Nice. Yeah. Let's see. Why don't you give me a very small check with your cookery tools, please, Megara? There's a very small
Okay.
check.
Yep, just hurrying back to my computer. I had to take something out to the kitchen.
Oh, we joined you in the kitchen, did we? How appropriate.
I've got a wireless mic, so I can just walk around the house.
Hmm.
Okay. Cook's tools, and this is attribute. What attribute?
Oh, attribute. This will be wisdom.
Wisdom. Okay.
Yeah, you get it nice. You sprinkle a bit of salt in there, so the dryness of the meat of the alligator. It's very rubbery meat, alligator meat. So a bit of salt just to really tickle the taste buds as they're currently trying to really chew through that squid tentacle of alligator meat. Really will just top this morning off for them. Yeah, and you guys, I don't know if they call it alligator meat. But whatever meat it is, it's pretty nice. It's quite lovely, honestly.
Right.
I guess nothing more to say or do about that nonsense. No, very well. With yourselves nice and packed up on alligator meat sandwiches, you guys can roleplay as you see fit, casually.
Right. Do we already have the sandwiches on the table?
Yeah, you're sitting at a table or at the bar eating sandwiches and getting
Right, so
some.
basically, I take only a very small bite of the sandwich, just tasting it, and I'm going like, that's delicious, and then I don't touch it again.
It is delicious. I mean, you want to deny it or not. It is quite nice. So what you've had.
Yeah, it is, but I just don't touch it again for the rest of the evening.
Okay, all right, okay.
I'm not sure if they would know that they're actually eating alligator meat, but yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm unaware and haven't tasted it before.
Yeah, that sandwich is delicious. What's in it?
Yeah. So Megara says, oh, it's a special delicacy that we hunted yesterday.
So this is your special meal, or I think this is a new place, right? A new restaurant. You eat. Is that?
It's a specialty that comes from the underground of Waters Deep.
The underground of what?
The underground of Waterdeep.
Water Deep, right? Oh wow, what's that?
She's trying to imply that they found it in the yawning portal instead of in the sewer.
Oh, nice. Okay. Well, I mean, if you really want to, what's it? You are a wizard of divination, are you not, Saki?
I am, yes.
Yes.
Indeed.
So in your spells, you have spells that include locate object. You can describe a name or an object that is familiar to you. An alligator is a creature, but alligator meat is an object, I guess. And you can set the object's location as long as it. Okay, never mind.
No, actually, okay, so
I allow the following. Okay, you get rather familiar with the meat that you're eating, and in so doing, you cast a very minor fling of the wrist level of divination. And as you're taking a big yummy mouthful, you consider this over and you say to Megara quite casually, Oh yeah, this is from the sewer.
Yeah, I didn't actually mean to say that, but I somehow know that.
Mm. You do a little bit of divining magic, basically.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yes, Megara, it might come as a good way to restore face if you can if you can clear any suspicion that this Troll Skull Manor had anything involved to do with the kind of situation with the fireball. If you can remove yourself of that whole problem, you might be able to uh, bring some reputation back in. But what's more, you do remember that you saw Barnabas and his accomplice talking to that very privileged sort of fancy Waterhavian woman. And before she runs off to wherever her home is, it might be an idea that you have a word of her just before she runs off.
So Megara will approach. So after seeing that they're happily eating, she'll approach the woman.
Yeah, so you go back outside to her while she's currently like talking to one of the guards of the
Yeah.
city watch, asking them all about stuff.
Yeah, she'll actually like take a cup of tea out.
Oh, cool.
Nice and warm for the morning.
Yeah, no, that's great. It is a cold, autumny morning, so that the steam floats up before you in lovely drifting clouds of vapor. Certainly.
In fact, maybe she would have it as an actual kettle and a couple of mugs for Barnabas as well.
Well, Barnabas and Safe have since moved on, having
Okay.
concluded their preliminary sort of investigation of the crime scene.
Okay then, yeah. So, yeah, she'll approach the woman and offer her the mug.
The kind of fanciful Waterhavian noble turns down. She basically goes, I'm sorry. Who's the? Oh, pardon me, dear. I'm sorry. I thought I was going to talk to more guards. I had enough of talking to guards for one day. Thank you very much. Please,
Oh,
oh, sorry. Thank you, dear. And she kind of just like she takes a breath. She just sort of she shakes her hands and wrists out as she basically just like centers her spine. You can see that she's very practiced as she's tilted her chin down and she's leveled out her head, clearly having practiced balancing books on her head as she stands there, kind of, and she gratefully takes the cup of tea as she goes, "Thank you very much. I would love a hot mug of whatever you're serving."
no, it's nothing too special. It's just tea. I would say just like maybe one of the more common teas.
There are common teas, so that's certainly fine. Like a bit of lemon, I'm sure exists. You can have a lemony tea
Yeah,
or a
yeah.
minty one. And she basically takes a little bit of a blow with very pursed, pretty red lips, and she blows over it and she just goes, "Ooh, actually, this is just what I was after." And she goes towards one of the building sides, standing, and gratefully, sort of with pinky out, takes a little sip of it, not making a noise, as she just goes, this is really nicely brewed, dear. Thank you very much. Um, what can I do for you?"
Oh, I just saw that you seem to be in quite a lot of distress with all the guards questioning you. So I I I wanted to just cheer you up a bit. I'm I'm the chef at the Troll Skull Manor.
Oh, my apologies for getting mixed up in this whole madness. My name's I'm Miss Hornraven. Pleasure to meet you, dear.
Megara.
Yes, Miss Megara, very well. And she brings her hand forward to you in a gesture that you should cup it from underneath to give it a bit of a warm clasp with her little white
Mhm.
glove on.
Yeah.
Mm. Do you take it?
Yeah.
Hmm. She gives a little nod of her head as she goes on to say, I imagine that you're probably suffering a little bit this morning. It's a heavy blow.
Oh, this is going to be a heavy blow indeed to our reputation. I don't want people thinking that we were involved in this.
Huh?
But it happened right out the front.
I know the feeling. I most definitely know the feeling. Whew. It's been really stressful for me lately, and I came down this way just to try and sort that matter out, and I got caught up in all this. Oh, God, I gotta go back to the estate, and I gotta see him again. Oh.
Oh, you're a you're a. Well, I guess Megara would have realized, didn't know, based on her mannerisms and dress.
Yes,
Well, her style of clothing, but
certainly.
hmm. So yeah, Megara would actually say it's like, so, why are you I guess you just got caught up as well, and
Well, I was in here for some other business. There was a individual I did come to see, but I did see something that might concern you. I think I may have saw who did this. But it wasn't a man. That much has to be clear. I tell you, it wasn't a man. It was more like a puppet shaped like a man. A puppet without strings. It was on the rooftop, and I heard something. It hurled something into the crowd before that caused the explosion. I saw those halflings burned alive. I saw them. Um, and I watched it. I watched as it took. It flung something off, and it was perched like an animal atop of the roof, but it looked like a man, but a puppet. It's so confusing.
hmm. Okay, I'm going to use my. I've only got a +1 in Arcana. I don't have it as a proficiency, but I do have Jack of all trades. So I'm going to see if maybe Megara has maybe like read in like some sort of magic journal, anything like this.
Oh yeah, certainly. That would be an Arcana check. Certainly.
Yep.
Very nice. You instantly recognize the description as a necklace of fireballs.
Oh, I was talking more about the actual puppet-like creature.
Oh. Well, firstly, you know the necklace of fireballs. The guys
Yeah.
who picked it up didn't quite bring this up, but with that Arcana, you will know that. You don't have enough to go on for that kind of check. You have that it's a puppet, but that could mean animated armor. That could mean a shield guardian. That could mean a clay golem. You know, you
Yeah.
need something more to go on.
Yeah. So, thinking of this, she says, did this puppet like did it look like something made out of like wood or clay, or was it like just someone that?
I'm trying, dear, to really put together what that thing was made out of, but I was too far away. I couldn't see it in detail. I'm sorry.
Well, I guess what this means is whoever did this was a powerful caster. Probably a wizard.
Because of your Arcana, based on the description of like it hurled something, not
Yeah.
just like flame from the hands, and I already told you it was a necklace of fireball.
Yeah.
You know that
I
you know that it doesn't actually require to come from a caster. It can just be an object that just like comes out.
I should rephrase. I meant like the person behind the puppet was a powerful caster.
Maybe.
Yeah. So yeah, Megara's immediately thinking like, well, yeah, whoever the assailant was, it sounds like that they weren't even here to do it themselves. They had a servant do it for them.
Well, I couldn't begin to imagine.
So this conversation is taking place outside, yeah, so we don't hear.
Yeah.
Yes, it is, but you could choose to follow the tiefling woman outside if you wish to.
Right, okay, I'm going outside and follow that different woman.
Yeah, very well, very well. That's all
I-
fine and dandy.
Yeah, Megara, he's like, oh, I was worried that this was gang activity because I've heard that there is gang trouble brewing in some parts of Waterdeep.
At which point I interrupt them and then introduce myself and say, "Hello there. I'm new to this city and I'm really curious as to what happened here. Could you help me out? I hear you speak about, so obviously you know a lot about this story."
Don't really know much, but we just if you have any input on this, I'd love to hear it.
I mean, I don't really know what happened. It just came here and then it just saw um was it a tiefling boy? I think it was a tiefling boy.
It
And
was
then
a
he was
halfling boy that
Half-
saw
halfling
this.
boy.
Yeah.
Right, okay, yeah. So it was a halfling boy that said that he heard some weird noises and then the fireball and then I don't know, he was just scared.
Yeah, I also followed out. I bring up we talked to a halfling boy, said they heard something, and he also showed us this. And I showed the necklace.
Mm. So yeah, you can see that he presents this necklace before you, Megara, golden chained, while it has only two little red balls that come off from it. Also, you don't know why your memory is being struck, but just as you're thinking about it, from your earlier Arcana check, you did remember about a certain holiday known as the Day of Wonders that happens over in this kind of time of the year in autumn. And if I can just take off. There we go. Come on. Oh no. There we go, yes. You remember in your time living here, and Lazelm Lazelm will also have this too. You will remember in autumn that there was an event called the Day of Wonders, which is now available in your handouts, which you can see a shield guardian and an automaton elephant and several individuals that are automaton-like humanoids. And basically, the Day of Wonders is where these mechanical contraptions come forward and begin to march down the streets of Waterdeep. A sponsored event from the Temple of Gond, God of Creation, as these are the hallmarks of pristine artisans' works, and they go out to win the populace over. As you're thinking about all this, you're thinking that such a group, the Temple of Gond, and its many contraptions during the Day of Wonders, might well be something of an oddity that seems very familiar. Waterdeep, of course, could have flesh golems, clay golems, shield guardians, but on the Day of Wonders, it's clear and apparent that the Temple of Gond gets busy to work drawing human-like automatons of various kinds. In fact, some that you remember having seen before in the past include some that look like a nimble right, which I will share with you right now in your handouts. So here you should see a long, single kind of red-robed, gold-brassed sort of artisan automaton, which is one such creature that you figure could possibly be a likely suspect. And I'm going to sneeze. Cut this out. Oh, hell. Okay. Alright, back in. So, yes, an automaton called a Nimblewright might well be the suspect.
Megara looks at the necklace of fireballs and also thinking about these automatons. First, she's like, oh, we really should take that necklace of fireball to the town guard. They might know. They might be able to use it to track down who was behind this.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. That's why I was here. I was.
Or the guards might just confiscate it and then just take it and not tell us anything about it, or even think that we are responsible for this.
No, I think we can trust the city watch.
I mean, I'm new to this
Yeah.
city, so I generally
Well,
don't
yeah,
really...
they if this this madam here, lady, can't really say madam. Madam has a different connotation. If this nice lady here told them what she told me, then they would know that it may have been an automaton that threw the fireball. So I don't think they would blame you.
No, and what murderer would come forward and deliver the evidence themselves? I don't think they will blame us.
I mean, could I find anything about this necklace if I cast Identify it? Or do I already know everything about it?
You already know everything about it, quite honestly. As a wizard by profession, you can easily distinguish a item such as this, an item such as a fireball necklace. That's a hot pocket item at Christmas or on Argus. You know, everyone's got that on their wizard wish
Right.
list, certainly.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, with the description given to you and everything else, it seems very clearly that this is a necklace of fireballs.
Okay.
It seems like I mean the city guard probably have wizards with divination to try and track down previous owners or something. I'm not a divination wizard, so I don't know what exactly kind of magic they can do, but I think that's something they can do.
Well, with that being said, Staki, being a wizard of divination yourself, you are
Yeah.
familiar that items that have been worn, or names, or parts and body parts of the person or thing you're trying to scry after, certainly is improved when you have more from that person. A lock of hair can help. A tooth can really help. An entire arm, and you can probably always find something about this guy. Something that was worn or present on the person could also possibly help your scrying. The more you have of them, the easier it is to find them.
Right. So, but right now I can't do anything to identify that person, right? Can I?
Not quite. You need to get into third level spell slots. But, as a scrying wizard to another, you figure that you could go to another one, present this, get a sort of divination wizard discount, and perhaps you'd be able to find where this thing might be.
Right. So we're basically, I would like to look for another divination wizard of higher level then.
Perhaps, but Megara, as
Oh.
you're thinking about the automatons that were in the area, or your suspicions towards automatons, you figure that a good place to possibly investigate is the House of Inspired Hands, which is the temple to Gon, sitting on the Sea Watch street at the Sea Ward, where the automatons get made and worshippers of God continue to manufacture and tinker various bits of clockwork mechanisms in worship and reverence to God himself, and do prepare for next year's Day of Wonders. So one such place like that could well be a great place to start looking up for nimble rites and other automatons to investigate.
So okay, this is how I picture Megara's mind is at the moment. She's like, oh well, I mean, we could investigate that, but we'll let the city guard handle this. We don't want to get in trouble. We don't want to get in the way. And then all of a sudden, she's just like, you know what? No, I'm sick of waiting around. It's my turn. Let's get in there. Let's find this out. Let's find these. I'm not sure if you want swearing or not, so she says, let's find these effers.
Yeah, say fuckers.
This
I'm
to
saying
our-
it. Fuckers. Fuck fuckers.
Yeah, let's find these fuckers that
Yay.
did this in front of our tavern, and let me tear them to shreds.
Woo! I like annoyed, frustrated, angry Magura. She's great.
Us she's going about, I cast thaumaturgy to basically cause a small tremor in the ground.
He caused a small what in the ground? A tremor in the ground. Oh, okay, so
Yeah.
Magura, you get so angry an earthquake happens. Yeah.
I'm like, sure, I'll follow you.
Yeah, so she just kind of storms back into Trollskull Manor and says, like, Punk! We've got business.
Punk gives a mew.
Oh. Yeah, like mew. I take it. We will be closing the store and going somewhere, Magala.
Of course. We're going
Well-
to be out today.
Right. Let me barricade the door, and we get out here. Barricade the door so no one come in, and let's go. I have a feeling that you'll take us somewhere that would help us with make sure that we can open an operation and have better reputation.
So, I was just thinking, but I was going to say maybe we leave Adrian behind, but then again, in case this goes into next session, he comes back.
We just put a note here if he needs. I'm sure that he is a capable guy. Just leave him a note and he will come.
Well, Lazelm will actually kind of say that, yeah, I'll love to. And he trails off as he kind of looks off in the distance. And while he does that, he kind of just goes, what? Silence. What the? I'm sorry, but who? Silence again. And his eyes focus in a bit as he, like, looks to you guys and he goes, on second thought, guys, I need to visit my family for a second. You go over to the House of Inspired Hands. I gotta check in at home, okay?
All right. Just make sure you. Well, you don't need. We don't need a key anymore. With the, I pointed to the holes in the door. Yeah. As I said, we all go out. I barricade the place and putting down. The shop is under renovation, and then we come back and get back in afterward.
You put your lovely little renovation sign out front, and then you guys begin to head off. You make your way back onto the streets of Waterdeep, heading out from the North Ward as you begin making your way west, crossing over the main thoroughfare set of streets and whatnot as you make your way over to the Sea Ward, over to the west. Now, as a fun little minigame, I would like you guys to try and find for me the corner of Sea Swat Street and Shark Street.
Okay.
Okay.
Sea Ward can be found here.
Yeah.
Please
Over
put in a
here.
little like game show music, just to sort of Da 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 da
Yeah.
da
What street was that?
Yeah, mark it with a sort. Ah, there we go. Oh, that was too fast. But yes, you found it exactly. The House of Inspired Hands, as seen there. And yes, as you come to this temple, the House of Inspired Hands looks like a cross between a temple and a workshop. The symbol of Gond, a toothed cog with 4 spokes, is displayed prominently. You see a silhouette of a humanoid shape perching on the rooftop. It extends an arm, releasing a tiny metal sparrow into the sky. The bird does a few loops in the air, then veers right foot towards you. Give me initiative rolls, please. We won't need your tokens.
Oh, good.
Ouch.
Excellent. Whoa, Magara, fucking ready today. And yes, oh my goodness, Saki, very nice, very nice. All right, so Magara, as this bird is currently like dive bombing towards you, what do you want to get up to?
So she's mad. She's prepared. She opens her mouth and just unleashes an eldritch blast right at it.
What kind of it's force damage, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right, give me a roll to attack with it. Oh, and you've got your gift set up. Oh, have you?
I don't know what happened there. That didn't roll properly.
Did you
so...
do it from your character sheet attack and?
Here we go. I'll do it from this one. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, a fucking crit initiative, and then a crit. Yeah, Magara is not taking shits today. So it literally is just as you say, and you fashioned yourself after a dragon maid. So you seriously just like, you know, you go from kawaii, and then just into dragon kind of, as this one shot of concentrated, forceful damage comes spewing out of your mouth in that powerful ball, and the metal bird is evaporated in the sky the moment you saw it. It couldn't even begin to dive that meaningfully close to you guys. It's just blasted out of the sky. The
Pong is
figure-
going to be holding up a hand for a high five with Magara.
Yeah, high five, free action, done. Magara inspiration. You have just achieved some serious critage. As you're on a warpath. You can see the creature atop this humanoid silhouette look on in shock and suddenly kind of scurries into a small like double set of doorways that look as wide as windows and closes them quickly behind. And yeah, the doors of the temple are open to you. That's end initiative. You're out of initiative again. Legit.
Damn. Okay.
Wasn't something coming towards us, guys? What happened?
Yeah. It's dealt with.
Yeah, really. Magara just gives a, hang on, there's a bee. Rah! Done. Let's get this shit on the road.
Right.
So she just walks right in,
Oh yeah.
and like she does a very obvious clearing of her throat as if to get attention. Says,
Yeah.
I am here to find whoever was the automaton and its master responsible for messing up my tavern.
Oh shit. Give me an intimidation check, please.
She's really mean business.
Yeah, you have inspiration on this. Alright, I'm giving you this advantage, right? Because you're already on such a warpath. That's a crit. Your fucking third crit. The temple, you can see that when you enter there, is, as I've described, a mix of a workshop and a place of worship. There are holy altars that are basically extensions of work desks, and oil lamps that have magnifying glasses that are closed into various bits of metalwork and clockwork that are being assembled on a variety of desks and workbenches that are around the place. People in thick aprons are standing by, working and tinkering with glasses and crafty, delicate little tools, and they have a collection of goggles on all of them as they just like turn around and go quiet. A few people holding like small little torch blowers as they are kind of looking on to see you busting in, and the whole temple has your complete and undivided attention.
So yeah, she just says, not only was my tavern messed up by a fireball thrown by an automaton, I believe the exact same bastard just attacked me with a metal bird outside.
Can it really be attacked if it never got a hit in?
Yeah.
So one of the people, a gnome, with more glasses and focal bits of metal joinery that clink and clatter as he moves his way forward. His own facial hair, like, stuck and tugging at some of the joints in his own metal work, and as he kind of is there, it's kind of just like, hey, hold on a sec, please. I'll just get the letter. And he just like completely scrambles away. He trips over. He just like mixes and like splashes a whole kind of flood of nuts, bolts, and bits of metalwork as it sounds like a drum kit falling to the ground in a splash before he like picks himself up and rushes for this so-called Valletta. In the meantime, a lady just kindly just like we're getting Valletta. We're getting Valletta. Please have a look over here. Have a look over here, and we'll get Valletta right to you. Okay? Do you follow her?
Yeah.
You're taken to a hall of exemplary inventions, and some of which that catch your attention to cool your frightful rage includes the following. A 4-foot-tall working model of a clock tower that rings at the top of every hour. It is made of wood, iron, bronze, and glass. Okay, yo. With brass bells and delicate hands formed from solid gold. Another is a wooden flying machine that has wings that flap when it becomes airborne. And it has like a very like plush red velvet sort of cockpit. Kind of like a Santa sleigh, but with these long extendable Da Vinci-like wings to either side of it. Another is a miniature model of a mechanical dragon turtle that has a brass plate fixed to its pedestal that reads, Big Belchy, sank in Deepwater Harbor on the Day of Wonders, 1363 DR. Another says a functional waking helmet equipped with small articulated metal hands and arms that gently slap the wearer if he or she is falling asleep. So says the description on the plaque. And finally, the most interesting of my favorites, a miniature model of a red submarine shaped like a manta ray that has a brass plate affixed to its pedestal that reads, The Scarlet Marpenoff, Lantanese Submersible, launched in 1489 DR, a very recent year. With that, you can see that a brass dragonborn makes her way over to you. She has more clerical garbs to her, symbols of four-toothed cogs sort of lining over her arms in bands and leggings and clothing and whatnot, as she makes herself known to you. And so after this Dragonborn comes to you, and she basically goes, right, I hear that you're having trouble with perhaps some sort of creation. Is that so?
Yeah, you can say that.
Where did you last see it?
I assume that was the one that was right out in front of the temple itself. So she says, out front of the temple, it launched a metal bird at me.
Oh, you don't mean from the roof, do you?
Yes.
She takes a deep sigh as her teeth lightly chitter with blue sparks of electricity. That she was saying as she goes on and goes, "All right. Follow after me, please." And she starts to take a speedy kind of walk over to the back of the temple. And as she walks with a very determined, sort of meaningful power walk, she goes, "Now keep in mind, please, you must be open-minded and you must not damage it. Okay?"
I will keep that in mind.
It is a blessing from Gond, and it also is a very generously donated gift. And as she says this, she's winding you up a set of cloistered, spiraling stairs that lead up and up and up until she gets to a door where she presumably goes to unlock it and open it up. As she just goes, "Nim, we need to have a little word, please. You've been tinkering around again, haven't you?" And as she goes in with her key to get to the lock, her key goes in and doesn't shift, as it kind of stays put, and she just goes, it wiggles it in Jimmy's head, and she goes, he's changed it again. Nim, open the door, please. Don't want to have to get angry with you. Come on now, open the door, Nim. With that, does anybody have proficiency with a thieves' kit? You can say no.
No.
I'm not a rogue. No.
Yeah, nope.
All right then. She goes, well, if I can't have you bust down the door, it's important that this door remains intact.
I imagine she says that as Megara's about to use another Eldritch Blast.
Yeah, she just goes, no, leave this here, please. Do any of you have the knock spell?
What spell?
The knock spell, spelt
No.
Knock. Alright, so she basically just goes, Nim, knock once on the ground if you can hear me, please. He's in there. This will be difficult. Nim is an automaton, gifted to us by a visiting Lantanese wizard. He can't speak, but if he would open the door, we would be able to understand him now, wouldn't we? I thought you were lonely, Nim. Wouldn't you like to say sorry to these nice people you disturbed? Oh, well, he feels like being disruptive, I guess. He owes you an apology, so you can talk to him through this door, but I can't have you break it into him. Nim, I really want you to open this door. Come on, and you don't want me to take the tools away, do you, Nim? You guys are welcome to intervene and roleplay as well.
Yeah.
This is not a sudden aggressive search warrant. If you have anything, just be a nice guy. Just open the door and we talk. Be civil about this. As between a kobold, a lady, a good man's, and an automaton. I'm sure you that there will be no racism against any automaton here. We're gonna speak as because we perhaps like to ask you, and especially several things to talk about.
Roll me a persuasion check, please.
+1.
All right. You get no response. Megara, would you care to try?
Did we pick up any remaining items from that mechanical bird we destroyed?
Megara utterly annihilated it. Eviscerated and evaporated it. It no longer is on this plane of existence.
Darn. Okay.
Yeah. Megara, you could use a turn
yeah.
to have a go at it. And Magnus, you're welcome to try and get this automaton to comply.
Are the automatons like interested in magical items? Do I know that? Does anybody know that?
You don't really know much about automatons at this level, but just continue to try and persuade it if you can.
Right. I knock 3 times on the door and say, listen, what was his name?
Nim.
Nim. Yeah. Listen, Nim, we only want to find out what happened and like we want to prevent that from happening again in the future. We are certain that this was just an accident, so we just need to find out what happened. Would you let us in and have a talk, please?
Roll me a persuasion, please.
Right. Persuasion.
This was made an advantage because Valletta, the Dragonborn, is helping you out, so we can ignore that net one. You hear a small little scuffle, as you can clearly hear his mechanical feet going as he makes his way over to the door and gently opens it, his face looking down, as it is in fact a nimble right, as you suspected, Megara. And you can see him open the door, head held low, and he quietly just sort of holds it open and waits for you all to come in. And Valletta basically goes on to say that, Nim, what have you done? And the automaton begins doing a series of hand gestures. He goes about doing sign language, essentially. He gives a very downhearted sort of curling motions with his hands, gently clasping them as you can hear the metal on metal gently scraping against one another, and the small little tin-like claps as he touches fingertips to one another, going back and forth and doing like apologetic sort of actions. And also he motions to his chest a lot. He grabs his chest and the air in front of it, plucks something from his chest, and kind of like spreads it out dramatically out in front of him. And she goes, alright, so you were feeling lonely, and you started making some things to give yourself a bit of company. Is that right? This is not good, Nim. You weren't allowed to make anything, were you? You know I'm going to have to take away your tools, don't you? And he basically kind of gives like a negative gesture. He waves his hands to try and suggest that, no, please don't. And he goes on to like rapidly try to describe himself and to like say some things. And Valletta goes, I'll translate for him. And as he continues to make these gestures, she says that, I was feeling lonely in this attic, all by myself. I wanted a friend. So I got all the bits together and I made something in my image. It got scared and ran away. I made a detector to find him, but now my mean, nasty captor. All right, Nim, that's enough of that. You know what? I'm taking your tools away right now. And the Nimblewort goes on his knees, begging and clasping his chest as he reaches out to you guys, his emotionless face unable to change, while his body desperately calls out, and he looks on helplessly as she basically goes, no, you brought this on yourself, Nim. You knew exactly what you were doing. You knew exactly what you were getting. You know what? We're taking away some of the buzz. You see that
Well,
bird,
but
clockwork
but
mouse over
but
there? That's still going to be taken away.
excuse me.
Yeah.
But if that automaton can help us find that other automaton that he made in his image, then maybe he could, like repent for himself.
That's right. You're going to help them, but first you're going to get all your toys taken away, Nim. That's right. Come on. Jeffrey, she says, as there was somebody nearby in the upper floors. He comes down and he goes, "Oh, yes, Miss Valletta." And she goes, "Guess what Nim's done?" And he goes, "Oh, Nim, you naughty, naughty construct. You've been warned about this before." And he basically comes forward and he gets the box that says the naughty box. And on the other side it's got confiscated. And this automaton basically goes to the floor, wrist to his forehead as he kicks his feet on the ground, and she goes, "Those crocodile tears won't work on me, Nim. You've done this before. You can think about just what you've done." And they begin to collect a variety of unfinished clocks, a couple of mice that apparently were like a family that all were going to be clock-up mice. You can also see that there was like a wind-powered caterpillar that was somewhere along there. But then you see something else, something interesting. You see something like this, and in your handouts you should see the Nimble Finder.
So you're telling me that there was a bunch of mice all involved with the secret of Nim?
Hey! Well done.
That's worthy of inspiration.
I've already ordered it.
Yes.
We only hold one at a time.
So you can just sort of see that Megara just has like this internal battle with herself at the moment, where she's like, "Oh my god, he's lonely. No, we don't care if he's lonely. But look at him."
He's playing God. He's making creatures after his own image. Aw, he's getting a soul that will overthrow humanity. No, he messed up my bar. Fuck him.
Exactly.
Yeah. But Mr. Wizard, Saki, this item interests you quite a bit in particular.
Yeah.
You can give me a detect magic spell, which I do think you have, don't you? Or an
Yes,
identify?
but it is not prepared. I have identified them.
Why don't you go ahead and cast identify? You can do this by just clicking the spell name.
Right.
Very good. So, you know exactly what this thing does. It has some divination magic to it, which is awesome for you. And you can discern that this thing is used to find nimble rights. Probably the ones that this guy has made, you know? But you will know exactly that you activate this device by holding down its trigger, and when activated within 500 feet of a nimble right other than Nim, the umbrella begins to spin, whir, click, and the spinning, whirring, and clicking accelerates as the distance to the target lessens. Kind of like a Ghostbusters ectometer kind of thing, you know? Give me the Geiger counter. If that's how Geiger counters sound and not like a monster caterpillar. But yeah, it will continue to like get louder and louder and louder until it finally is within 30 feet of the nimble right that it's currently nearest to.
Right. Okay, we don't have this item now.
Oh, you can see it and you're looking at it, and it's kind of pulled out from his untidy room. as all
Right.
of his junk is being taken away, and Valletta has a look at this casually, and she can see Nim clapping his metallic hands, trying to get her
So
attention. And
I interrupt Ballet at this point and
okay,
say, "Oh, great! Look, this item can help us track down the other nymphs that were created by Nim. We could use it to find out the aggressor."
she looks at you, and then she looks over to Nim as she has to interpret, and she goes on to say, "I made this so I could find my friend and bring him back before I got in trouble, and before this." Oh, Nim. All right. You know what, Nim? You know what, Nim? You're going to have an oil bath tonight, and I'm going to scrub you down so hard you're going to feel sensitive for the next 5 weeks. Hmm? That's for using language like that. And he gives her the middle finger.
Oh, wow.
Basically, she goes and says, "Yes, by all means, take it. And if you can destroy this Nimblewright, and this creation, things like this is what gives us a bad name before the Day of Wonders, which we really don't want. We're trying to make people trust our inventions. We see the future of creativity." She says, while Nim continues to put his body on the floor, kicking his hands and feet against it, going, well, silently, just waving his head as if he's a crying child. But she basically goes, "If you can destroy it and bring evidence of destroying it, I'll give you 500 gold pieces for it. And I can also give you something. I can give you something of a gift you may like. For example, well, I'll leave it a surprise."
Okay.
All right. So, do you guys accept this call to action?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think that yeah.
Definitely.
All right, awesome. So she basically says she says to Nim that you're not going to be able to lock your door anymore, Nim. And she basically just gets the key that's on the other side, and she puts it into her inner garb and whatnot. As she basically goes, "Well, you're going to have a serious long time out, mister. We may even be put back in the box." Not the box. Well, basically, she says that, well, you know where we are. Please, by all means, with all due haste, find this Nimblewright and destroy it before it gets too out of hand and before any serious harm comes to anyone. It's probably lost and confused. It will cling to the first delicate hand that comes to deal with it. Keep that in mind.
So, I think at this point, Megara has her kind of side has completely fallen for Nim,
Aww.
and she's reverted, and she goes over to him and she's trying to cheer him up and offer a hug.
He when you come closer to him, he kind of points an accusatory finger your way, and he kind of shakes his hand back and forth just enough to give his finger like a searingly angry sort of accusatory stabbing sort of motion, and he backs up away from you as he just kind of shakes his head with a no kind of action.
I turn to Nim and go "Hey Nim, would you like to help us find out your friend?"
What's that?
I turn to Nim and ask him if he would like to help us out. Come with us in the
Oh
pursuit
no,
of his
he
friend.
can't. He's not going anywhere. He's staying in his room. He's not going out of here. He was going to get out of here, weren't you? You were going to have a nice little walk in the day of parades coming up this year. But I guess someone's going to have to miss it this year. And at that, he just kind of just his arms slump down as he kind of has a moment of shock, and then he just like puts his hands in his face and oil starts dripping off his hands. Anyway, she basically goes, so immature. Right, you won't have any more help from him. We'll keep him really looked after and locked up.
But
you get
give
out
him a
there.
chance to show that he's worthy of the how's the day called? The day of the like, let him show that he's worthy of the day of the wonders.
Wait, what did you say?
I am trying to persuade Valeta, what was his name?
Valeta?
Valeta. To allow him to come with us so that he can prove he's worthy for the Day of Wonders.
No, he's not getting out that way. He's in and he is put.
Ah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
better you get hunting right away. There's no time to lose on this.
Yeah, so Megara does say, it's like, oh, it's for the best that he stays here. We wouldn't want him getting into any more trouble.
Or making any more birds to piss off Megara.
Yeah, if
Okay, so as you guys head out, I give you the following challenge. The Nimblewright could be anywhere in Waterdeep. Your little meter looks about within every 500 feet of checking for a Nimblewright. And there's only so long you can search a day, and I need you to basically, you only have one of these. So, using the ruler tool, I want you with the right click to sort of path out a course of mapping through the city. This is a big thing. You're looking for a mechanical wonder in the magical city of splendors.
Okay. So,
You can approach
I'm
any
going
kind of thinking
to-
to this.
yeah, I'm going to make a roll mainly for my benefit, just to sort of see. So Megara's going to she's going to think, okay, so where would an automaton get hands on a magic item like a necklace of fireballs?
Oh, City of
That
Wonders.
sounds
You know, that makes this whole lot. This makes that whole question harder.
So
Not really.
how does this little things work? Pong is going to look at the Nimble Finders. It doesn't look like something you could use to find a Nimble Bright.
Well, Saki, upon being asked this, you begin cranking it up, and I don't know if you've ever seen or listened or heard of the magic roundabout. It literally is just making some kind of like ice cream van sort of sound as it is winding up, and it truly does like just like with that whining clockwork music box sort of sound as the umbrella spins around on its axis, kind of thing. And it probably was made with a music box of the junk that was lying around for sure. But yeah, as you begin to wind it, you know that it takes no amount of charges per day. It can just continuously do this over and over.
Right, so basically what happens is I press this, I pull this lever on this item, and then the closer we are to this automaton, the more noise it makes.
Yes, exactly.
Aha,
Now, it has a 500-foot range, so I really am going to use one of you. Which person that's going to be? I'm going to choose Magnus, because he has a pretty face. I'm going to choose Magnus for his pretty face. He shall represent you guys. There we
Yeah.
go. And you guys are the House of the... No, that's the House of the Moon. That's not what I want. House of the Inspired Hands. Here we go. Now, 500 feet is about 500 feet is a little bit in the average of 0.1 miles. So use this as a reference. When you begin to use it right now, your mechanical device is silent.
Okay.
Yeah, so my thinking on this, and Megara sort of explains. She says, "Well, I mean, there are plenty of places where someone can get, buy magic items, but it's more a case of who would be willing to sell magic items to a construct. That seems a bit fishy, doesn't it? That's like you may be in the shiftier parts of town."
What's more, if he was a runaway, where would he get the money from?
Yeah, I don't think he necessarily bought the necklace, or so, and he doesn't necessarily live where he bought it. So I don't think he can go from that. But he still needs to hide somewhere. So shady part sounds good.
Okay.
I mean,
Now,
would it also make sense to check the area from which you guys think the fireball came from?
I've got a feeling that maybe it's also a good chance that he didn't exactly do those things on his own. Maybe he got in with the bad crowd. People are using him.
Then we had to try to think. We know that the intent target was this gnome dude. So what kind of gang would go after the shit gnomes?
I don't know. I don't think he was one of the sewer cleaners or whatever.
Yes.
I mean, the sewer cleaners weren't armed, and he most definitely was.
Yeah. So yeah, this was definitely I've got a feeling that this was like a contract hit that they used the automaton for.
So you
So you
suggest
think-
that this automaton actually smart enough to became assassin and actually had a higher contract from it?
Well, I mean, you saw Nim. He was lonely. It's very likely that if he created another Nimble, right, that Nimble would be very lonely as well, and would do anything to make friends. And
That is true. There must be some way, some clue that we can find to narrow down.
Well, I can tell you that if you want the best method of searching through the city, it's up to you how you will approach it. But Megara, you can cover a lot of area fast-ish because you can go as the crow flies around certain areas, given the fact that you can fly. So you can take to the skies and you can use this device and you can fly overhead buildings and whatnot. And I'm happy for you to do that and then have you link back to the team. But what I do ask is using the ruler tool and using the right click to show me a path, a flight path. I want you just to give me today's trek, I will have to judge this within what I deem fair, but within all of Waterdeep, which if you zoom out you can start to appreciate, I want you to just give me a path of where you search. And I'll tell you if you find something today.
Okay, so where are we at the moment? Up in the
House of Inspired Hands.
Yeah. There's no marker there, so it's just hard for me to see at this point.
Yeah.
All the way up there. Okay.
Whoops. There we go.
That's why his face was blocking it. I was like,
Okay.
Okay, so
that's it.
Yeah.
Right click and then continue your path because you can go places.
Oh wait.
Oops, try that again.
Just
like this kind of situation.
Yeah. Right. Drag and then right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I get it now. So, I assume there's probably like some sort of like anti-air sort of like flight restriction over Castle Waterdeep.
Yeah, that's a pretty solid guess actually. That's a pretty smart one. But yeah, you venture near enough. You don't go over that too far.
So I'm thinking if I recall, the dock ward is probably where there's more gang activity.
The dock
Or
ward is pretty shady. It is true.
yeah,
However, this is something interesting for you. As you are searching by the dock ward, the the little receiver begins to ring, and it begins to slowly click and twirl and make a noise as you're approaching near some of the dockyards.
okay then. So continue on. Yeah. So I'll do a fly. I'm going to sort of
Ah.
basically start to just sort of fly around this
Yes.
general area to see where it's
You're
getting
getting
stronger.
closer.
Okay. Is it sort of indicating sort of more south or?
It's indicating towards some of the parked, harbored seafaring vessels, of which you see two, which, as you're flying above, your nimble finder is making a loud whirring noise particularly actively for. You are looking down at two very fanciful ships, of which outside each of them there is littered graffiti, no, confetti, and fanciful ribbon, and multicolors of plumed carnival, like sails and whatnot. The sails themselves have a resplendent sort of gold and red pattern, along with bleached whites that fly high in this, like, they're not in a way to catch wind enough, but they are there to certainly flag themselves up as a fanciful carnival ride. You're looking at the ships themselves, and you can see that they are named as follows. One is known as the Heartbreaker, and one is known as the Hellraiser. Of these, your nimble finder seems particularly interested in. Though these ships are particularly fancy and festive, they are not seeing a high amount of traffic. From what you can see down below, you can see a multitude of very attractive crew, men and women that have luxurious trim-cut jackets and coats, perfectly suited to heighten and their aspects of their slim, beautiful bodies. Their garb equally fanciful, with long curling ribbon and multicolored bits of jewelry, and each and every one of them lacking many blemishes or whatnot. And as you look on, you continue to find yourself kind of envying their fashion and their charisma they so naturally swagger themselves in. And they walk with a grace that is somewhat unbecoming of seafarers, but this does seem to be some kind of festival boat that is anchored here. That's what you can find here. Yeah. As you look out in the distance, there are other ships that are milling about, but over into like the deeper parts where the great harbor is, out into the deeper parts here, you can see just kind of chilling somewhere in the middle of this bay, an equally festive boat, just sort of far removed from the others that are docked on the side here. Do you choose to investigate it?
Hmm.
From an aerial view,
Yeah. So yeah, she'll do a flyover.
the nimble finder begins to buzz here as well.
Ah.
How do you take your findings, and do you report back?
Yeah. So she flies back to the others.
All right, very good.
Says, I think I may have found a lead, but I'm not too sure. There's some carnival ships that are at the harbour that seem to have nimble rights on them, but it's very possible that they aren't the ones we are looking for.
Right, maybe we
Just
can.
based on them being a carnival, they could just simply have automatons that help them as stagehands. But I guess we have to investigate.
Maybe we can
Yeah.
ask around and find out whether there are like incoming ships for the carnival or what the ships are.
Yeah, if they're just using them as help, then just say that and we'll know it's not that if they can say that they have had control over the automatons all the time. So let's just go check it out.
Perhaps we should quickly ask what's her name again? Letia?
Valletta, yes.
Valletta, yeah. Perhaps we should ask Valletta if they've had any sort of dealings with these carnival folk.
I think that's a very good idea, actually. Is Valletta still around?
Oh yeah. Well, because flying distance, same as walking distance, 4 miles per hour, about an hour. The course that you've set
Yeah.
me. Yeah, this is all within like an hour and a half after you've started, so the working stay is still going and thriving. So yeah, I don't see any reason why Valletta won't still be in her home and church and workplace all in one.
Yeah.
So yes,
So-
see from there.
Yeah, so Megara, tries to talk to her again. Like, I assume she is busy, so...
Well, actually, when you guys enter, of course, she makes herself available right off the bat.
Yeah.
She quickly comes forward. She goes, "Wow, so soon? You found them?"
I think so. There's, I found some carnival ships that the detector was giving me signals from.
Carnival
And-
ships.
Yes, I was wondering if perhaps you've had dealings with them.
She thinks on this for a moment, and she just basically looks around to the others in her workshop, and she goes, "Anybody know anything about any kind of carnival ships in the bay?" And the gnome that fell on his face earlier, rushing for her, replies and goes, "Ah, yeah, the Sea Maiden's Ferry. The Sea Maiden's Fair, rather. One of those silent E's and ye olde fairs, E's. One of them." As he basically goes, "Ah, yes, captained and orchestrated by the very fanciful Zardar's Zard, or Zardar's Zord. That was it. That might ring a bell. That name might ring a bell. As they basically say that, yeah, it's his traveling carnival, but instead of traveling by land, they travel by sea, coming into any naval port that like them. They're Luskin based, I believe, and this is part of their yearly tour."
No, great.
Do you know if they employ some nimble rights in the shows?
Oh, they got nimble rights? I want to see that. And basically it suggests that no, they did not know that.
And also, like, they don't take part in the Day of Wonders, do they? Do you know that?
Well, we usually orchestrate and sponsor the Day of Wonders. The carnival is pretty new. I wonder if, well, he hasn't approached us. Usually the Day of Wonders is looked after and orchestrated by us. If Zardoz wants to come by and join us, we really will knock the show out of the park this year.
Okay.
So it's possible that our rogue Nimblewright did find its way into their employ, but
But I mean, that's what carnivals do, right? So they take people that escaped, or like weird people, or people that are in need of a family and companionship, and then they take them in.
yeah, great. So we've got a construct that ran away to join the circus.
Well, better
Hmm.
kill it and destroy it before it runs further away.
Well, are we suggesting that we have this automaton who joined the circus, become an assassin, and probably join some strange sickly card that probably represented?
Well,
What?
if that's what you want to do, this is Dungeons and Dragons. You're welcome to go about it that way.
he doesn't necessarily have to join them. He might just hide aboard or blend in with the other automaton.
I don't know. Is it possible to disguise ourselves as an automaton?
Disguise yourselves as an automaton. Let me think. And there's a blast of ideas as people begin a think tank, and they do come together and they start getting notepads and quills out as they go, what about a Trojan whale? Have we ever thought about a Trojan whale? Well, think what happened to Big Belchy. You get too big and the air pressure is not going to keep it afloat. Once that mouth opens, it's just going to sink. And then you've buried the poor sods down in the Great Harbor. And he goes, all right, forget Big Belchy. We've made some mistakes with Big Belchy, but we can do better. What about if we just added a few of those inflatable balloons at the bottom? What if we remake we can't make the submarine again. That's right, we can't make the submarine again. We don't have the budget to do all that again now, do we? No, we don't. And then we don't have the blueprints anyway. Quite right. So, I suspect that we begin by making a ship, an entire ship. But actually, what it is a group of adventurers pedal powering it. How does that sound? Oh, that's ingenious. I love it. But at the same time, that's really stupid. And they just go, what? How is that stupid? We just get a big, large frame. We don't have to fill it out. We just have to make it buoyant. Well, what's it going to look like when there's two big New Orleans ferry boat wheels flapping in the water on a ship that should have sails? Well, it will just be steam powered. Steam? Are you mad? How are we going to get an open flame out in there? How are we going to get... We're going to fill it up with logs and timber. And if it's steam powered, why the hell are they pedaling in there? I don't know, Jeffrey. You think of a good idea. Oh, I've got a good idea, alright? How about we just buy a rhinoceros, decapitate it, then just fit them inside, and then we just replace its bones with some makeshift sort of clockwork. They wind it up from the inside, and when they get close enough to the ship, the rhino shits them out. How does that sound? There's a moment of silence. How
That
big is the rhino we're talking about here?
That's an Ace Ventura job, isn't it?
Yeah. It is.
Maybe. I'm not sure if we need to disguise ourselves, but if we had to
Of course you need
disguise
a disguise! Let's talk about the frickin' Trojan whale again. It's a solid idea. No, it's not a solid idea. It's anything but solid.
There is a simple idea.
At which point, Chaiki interrupts the ideas coming down on her mind and goes like, right, Valetta, please tell me, do you know if that floating circus actually is performing right now, like this period of time? Could we perhaps just go and see their show?
Yes, just hang on to that for 1 second, please. Just 1 second. And she basically just goes, all right, quiet. All right? Now listen. We learned from Big Belchy. We can't make a submarine. I like the ideas that are on the table, but quite honestly, why don't we just airdrop them in on a flying crane? Oh, stop with the crane, Valletta. It's not going to happen. We cannot put the pressure of a steam engine in a flying vessel. Who's going to pilot it? We don't have space for passengers. And she just goes, well, we can put them on the back. And we can have one hanging on the beak. On the beak? Well, we got to make a harness, and if, God forbid, that they shouldn't be magically able to fly themselves, then they're just going to fall and die. See, she can fly. Well, great. One of them will survive while the rest of them die in a burning pile. That's great.
At which point, Chaiki silently turns around and leaves the room.
What's that?
At which point, Chaiki turns around silently and leaves the room.
Yes, no problem.
She's had enough.
Yes. You take a good time to leave.
Megara sort of joins. He's like, I know if we're going to go disguise, then why not disguise us as shield guardians? Because they're nice and big, and they just look like suits of armor.
You get like a unified look to you of disappointment as they're just like, Shield Guardian, is that really what you want? Yes, we can get some aluminum metal over you, and we can put you on some stilts, and we can do this for the 500th time. But come on! We've got rhinos, whales, even the crane. Fuck it. I'm not vetoing the crane anymore because it's better than the Shield Guardian. We've done the Shield Guardian again and again and again. I got a portfolio to fill out. How can I say, oh yes, I made the 500th Shield Guardian? You know, they're never going to say that Sir Joffrey von Velodamp is the one that made the goddamn 500 Shield Guardian. No, they'll remember me as the man that made the piloting rhinoceros. That's what they'll remember me for. And another one is just like, you know what? I don't like our conventional thinking. You know, we gotta break the mold here, okay? I'm thinking piloted mouse. A real scale mouse. But we use some extra dimensional magic, and we basically we make them tiny so they can enter the mouse at actual size, but then they get out of the mouse and they go back to being real size. There's a pause. The team are pondering this, and they basically go, well, hang on. So you're just saying like a clockwork mouse we can make any time, but we actually fit it with an extra dimensional space and a triggered, repeatable spell to make them tiny to fit in the mouse and surprise an audience. You're fucking genius! They run, they slap each other on the back, and they busily get to work. Basically, Valletta just goes, oh my god, okay, just stay put for the next half a month. We're gonna get you this.
Hey,
would you
on
like
the
to stay
plus
half a
side,
month?
we probably, but by the time we like go to like an actual dragon heist, we might be able to use this.
Hey, maybe.
So Megara actually does start to stand still. She just starts to stand there until she's just like, "Wait, what the hell am I doing?"
Eventually, the clock that you were looking at earlier strikes 5 p.m.
Yeah.
And people basically say, dinner time! Oh, I can't wait. What are you having? Oh, I'm having a sweet roll with a bit of coffee. Coffee? Like from the South coffee? Yeah, a bit of 7 coffee. It's pretty nice. How do you like yours? Well, I've got my little teapot here, and he has like an automaton little teapot on... No, he doesn't have an automatus like teapot. He has an automatus sort of boiling stand that walks and jumps about beside him and kind of hugs the boiling kettle that is boiling as he goes along. And basically, they just like leave you be as they kind of go on dinner break.
My goblin tinkerer, she would fit in so well here.
Yeah, she might. She might.
Yeah, I think this is the best chance to escape we have, so
Yeah.
I think you
Yeah,
should.
I'll be right back. I gotta go feed the dog. He's back.
At that moment, a mechanical dog jumps up a twist and starts to pin them down as they basically get hungry for some metal bones. Yep.
So, yeah. So, Megara, she decides that there's going to be no help here.
No, there's help. It's just happening in half a month's time.
Yeah. No immediate help.
Oh, well, you know, they're autistic. What can I say? They can't just bang out another Shield Guardian costume. It's just not kosher anymore.
Yeah.
It's out
I
of
suppose
season.
it would be. I suppose it would be the same if people kept on asking Megara to bake the same thing over and over again.
Of course. They are artists of metaltargy. You know, they gotta push the envelope. Anyway, but you know exactly where you gotta be going if you want to pursue this.
Yep.
What time is it now, did you say?
About 5 p.m.
Dinner time. Alright, 5 p.m.
End
So
of
we do
work
have some...
hours.
So Megara says it's like, I know what we should do then. Maybe we should do what the detectives call a stakeout.
Ooh.
Oh, a stakeout. What's a stakeout?
we find a place where we can observe the carnival, the fair, and we watch to see what happens. See if those nimble riots act suspicious.
Yeah, so perhaps we could buy admission to the carnival and like pretend to be tourists or something so that we can see from the inside what's happening there.
Do we know when the next show
Yeah,
is?
when is the next show?
You do not know.
Maybe we should
Another reason for us to go, we can ask.
Yeah.
We are just
Yeah.
simple customers.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe we should just go and ask around. Do you know if anyone would have information about this carnival, or do we just walk into the dockwood and just ask around?
Probably asking around in the dock ward may be a good choice, actually, given that the festivities will make their parade start from here. But it's up to you. But
Yeah.
get closer to the dock ward first and make your decision there, basically.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's probably going to be like, 6 o'clock by the time we get there?
Yeah, exactly.
So shall we just do that?
Yeah.
Brilliant. You make your way down to the dock ward, and thereupon you go towards this simple part of the docks. More like this one. As you go towards the furthest reaching one that heads towards the center of the Great Harbor. There you can see that this whole walkway has been dominated by a series of lovely looking, colorful, multicolored even the planks themselves have been laid out in a multicolored sort of xylophone, I think is correct, for musical little bars that you would bang a little drumstick against, I think is correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they kind of have been painted over to give that sort of look to them. And though the time is dim and it is now dark, the walkway is lit with lanterns that glow in a lovely sort of series of colours, brightening up this dark spot of the dock ward. And despite everywhere else, these lanterns are not so affected by the crime rate that's so rampant in this area.
Right. Do we see any advertisements for the carnival, or I don't know, whatever that might suggest that we could buy some tickets and see the carnival? Or
Yeah, so you actually see that it is saying you're actually seeing that there is a bit of word that talks about look out for our showcase on the Day of Wonders. Lord Zardon's perfect display of magic, wonder, and creation, all displayed into one magnificent show. Do not miss it, or you will never see it again. In brackets, it says playfully, until next year, and it gives a winky face.
And how far away is the Day of Wonder?
How far away is the Day of Wonders? Well, with Angharen's Day having recently been finished, it's within a 10-day of the other one, so within a 10-day away. Very soon, within this month.
Alright, so they will be performing on the Day of Wonders and they don't have their own thing going on in the ships.
That's right, yes. As you're
Okay.
talking about this, you can see right through the other side of the dock, you're like at the entryway of it, but as you can see in the distance, that small 500 feet away, the edges of your vision with a brightly lit up dock way, you can see a Nimblewright walking from one boat to the other just adjacent to it. It does so casually, not expecting any kind of people, and it doesn't spot you guys.
So, Megara is she's going to sort of walk towards it, but she's going to walk in a way that it doesn't look like she's actually, heading towards it, more like a incidental sort of walking past.
I get you, sort of hands Princess Peach holding one another as you're just sort of like, ooh, Mario! But I mean, ooh, fancy colours and pretty confetti. Nice.
I'm back.
And she'll basically tell the others to keep a sort of eye on it, and she's going to be like making conversation, and as they walk near it,
Oh yeah.
she's
So
going to.
yeah, so you're all walking together. Role play, and perform your absent-mindedness, your wayward thinking that would lead to eventually ending up saying, "Oh heavens, look at the time! I don't even know where I am." Give me your best airhead warm-up.
Well, okay. What I was sort of getting at is that she's going to mention Nim while she's near it, but she's going to sort of say Nim in a way that's not like. It's trying to see how it reacts to the name without actually making it look like they're after this creature, so it doesn't run away.
Okay, so from the start of the
Yeah.
docks, you begin to Princess Peach. I'm really set on the idea you Princess Peach hold your hands. And you continue to walk around going, ooh, pretty colours. Come on, guys, look at these colours. You walk a 500 feet down into the beach, into like the coastline, as you basically go, ooh, look at the ocean. It's so blue. Look at these lovely buildings. You know what these ships remind me of? Like, it reminds me of that automaton we saw. Do you remember, guys? I don't remember, Magara. What a Miss Tiefling woman I've never seen before. What automaton could that be? Oh, I bet you haven't heard of him. He is one of the gifts over the inspired hand, known as Nim. You look around. Is that basically how that scene goes down? Yeah,
Basically.
I thought I had it right in my head. So yeah, the automaton you just saw walk past, stops in his footsteps, pauses, and then continues to walk into the boat and going down a flight of stairs.
Okay then.
We see this automaton. Does he look like Nin? Does it look like Nin, rather?
Does look like Nim, but with a few subtle variations. So to begin with, he is dressed out in carnival gear. He is very fanciful. There has been less covering him up, but of course still trying to give the illusion that you don't have to see his Kendall like lacking of a penis. But he has rather displayed all of his arms, for example, wearing a shirt that is sleeveless, just so you can see the intricate inner workings of the cogs and gears that make this living creature, if you like, come to life and help him move like that of a human.
Should we trail him?
Well, he has gone into the ship now, so you better choose your course of action wisely.
Yeah, so Megara does. So it's like, well, if we try to sneak on board the ship, that is trespassing, and we do not want to get in trouble from the guard.
No, definitely not.
As you guys are wondering here, a very, very stunning, long black-haired, tight wearing, black boot wearing, fanciful looking sea captainess sort of gently kicks her foot while she's cross-legged on the side of the ship, the Hellraiser, as she looks down and she just goes, "Welcome, travelers. You're a bit early for the show. What can we do for you?"
Oh, we were just wondering. First, we were wondering when the show is going to be.
The Day of Wonders.
Ah, of course. We just saw that automaton.
Yes,
Interesting.
fascinating little pickup, isn't he? Well, if you were curious, I know that Mr. Zardoz Zod is always welcome to tell about how he picked up those automatons, given if you're willing, of course, and you haven't got anywhere else you need to be.
No, I'll be glad to talk to him.
Is that so? Right then. You can see that she does a small gesture, which I will allow anybody who is proficient to give me an Arcana check with. So give me a roll with Arcana.
I would imagine I am, but don't see any skill proficiency.
Your Arcana. Give it a click in your character sheet. Alright, maybe you are proficient and I should help fix this with you.
Yeah, I
even
don't see
that-
any proficiencies in
Even
skill.
that, you know that she's casting a sending spell. A spell that gets her in contact, and she instantly sort of like mutters a few words and looks up a bit as she's having a little bit of a phone call, and she finishes off, and she smiles warmly, gives a nod. She stands up on the rim of the boat. She gives a sort of dust off with her leggings, and she turns around. Who among you are males?
Me?
And me.
Me?
Very good. Megara, are you bisexual in any way?
I never really thought, but I don't think she has that kind of interest at all.
Okay, we'll skim by it then. For the men, I want you to give me a charisma saving throw, as she has a backside that looks like it was made by Fortnite developers. Right before she crunches down a little bit, springs off her back feet, does a somersault and triple axel as she lands delicately, clicking her heels as they come to the broad walk in front of you all, and she does so while the very feather of her plumed hat brushes across your noses. And I want charisma saving throws from you guys to find out if you fall in love with her.
Megara's just doing a soft little clap.
Yes. Saki, you feel nothing for the female species at this moment. Ponk, there is a crit in there, and that was a decent enough roll. So, and you already have you have many sweet affections for many lovely ladies who treat you nicely, perhaps. I'm gonna give this to Magnus. So Magnus, being the paladin of conquering that you are, you kind of am like, yeah, I need a piece of that sweet roll. Yeah. Yeah, so she is particularly desirable in your eyes, has to be said. She is a magnificent specimen. How you act on that is completely up to you, Magnus, but either way, she basically just goes, right this way, please, if you'd care. We will be taking you over to the Eye Catcher, appropriately named as our flagship vessel, where Lord Zardoz is looking to have a fanciful dinner with you. That is, if you care to be wined and dined, of course.
Excuse me, I missed the last bit.
She basically tells you that she is going to shuttle you across from the harbour into the Great Harbour here, where the Eye Catcher vessel, the flagship of the Sea Maiden Fair, is currently harboured up and anchored.
That's the one that's like in the deep sea, right?
That's
And
right.
we were in the Hellraiser.
That's right. Yeah, you're right between the two ships of the Hellraiser and the Heartbreaker.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just looking at her every word she says and just nodding along.
What's that, sorry?
I'm just looking at her, keep my eyes on her, and just nodding along with every word she says.
She looks on at you and she gives like a knowing smile, and she purses her lips a little bit, but she otherwise goes to the end of the dock where there is a vessel already set there, and she basically goes, "Please, I'll shuttle you guys across. Make yourselves comfy and keep your hands and feet inside the barge at all times." And as she begins to rowboat you guys across, she goes, "Ooh, my back hurts a little bit. Excuse me, you look like a rather strong individual. You wouldn't fancy showing off how easy rowing is, would you?" As she passes you the oars, Magnus.
My pleasure.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, you begin to row along. It's strenuous work, but she basically she smiles at you and she goes, "Wow, you're good at this. You've got some strong arms."
Saki goes and finds like the darkest corner in the ship where it's like the least seen.
It's a very small rowboat and it's very cramped, but sure.
Yeah, attempting to hide himself, like wearing a hoodie and whatnot.
Yes, yes, you're too shy at the moment. But in no time at all, you continue to make your way until you get to the Eye Catcher. An equally no, not festive, luxurious ship made for speed and luxury, and it reflects that in its design, with gold filigree sort of lining some of its scented, wonderful-looking bark, and oaken kind of woodwork, as the whole thing looks like a comfortable thing you just want to hug and press your face into just from the outside alone, looking slender and so magnificent, like a rich guy's private yacht but of medieval times. You come towards the other side of the ship where there is a rope ladder put down awaiting you. Wonderful sort of ivy covering the rope, along with small bits of floating bits of prestidigitated like light lining up to give you a bright little walk up to it. And she goes, "Ah, good. It seems Zardoz was in a very fancy mood tonight, and he does love being fancy. Please, come over this way. He's awaiting you in the dining cabin." And as she leads you up, she opens a door before you on this luxurious deck. A few hands do seem to be here, men and women, equally as lightly dressed and as handsome and beautiful as this lady is, with various colourful, curly bits of blonde hair, elegant, deep, deep blue eyes to brown, ashen hair, and to hazelnut eyes. All these a mixture of brawny, tawny to mahogany to fair-skinned individuals. A true diverse group of elves and humans, as it should appear. As you are led in, you get to see the following. The dining cabin is bedecked with golden filigree. The purple curtains festooned with silken tassets, the wood panels scented with perfume. A magnificent feast laid out on golden platters sprawl atop a mahogany table of exquisite craftsmanship. Even the doilies are something to behold. Standing behind it all, with wine-glass in hand, is a well-built, scantily clad man, his scarlet apparel designed to accentuate his trim figure and bountiful chest hair. A flashy rapier hangs from his stylish belt. "Welcome to the Eye Catcher," he says, flashing his pearly white teeth. "Zardar's Zard. or Zord at your service. And with this, he bows with extreme practice and smoothness as he comes forward and greets you. He clasps each of you by your hand, men and women, clasping you by the underhand and kissing your hands like the guests you deserve to be. He gently pulls out each of your chairs as he goes, "Please make yourselves entirely at home. I'm at your disposal, and I want you to. Well, you know what? I'm going to drop the formalities here. I was looking for a bit of company. I don't know many of the Waterhavian locals here while on my tour, and quite honestly, I'd love to spoil a group of individuals like yourself for tonight. I hope that you'll entertain this crazy old coot. Or this crazy. He calls himself old, but he clearly looks like a young man."
Oh, well, this is, oh, I have to admit, this is kind of overwhelming. You certainly know how to make someone feel special and welcome.
It's my absolute pleasure to do that for all those lovely enough to need a bit of spoiling in their time, he says as he carefully, scoots your chair to the table, tucking it in. And he does the same for the rest of you guys, as he basically says, "Do any of you have any jackets I might take off your hands, or anything like that?" No? Alright, no, excuse me.
I'd say maybe Megara does, she's got a parasol which she might hand to him.
He takes the
Well-
parasol and he looks at it quietly and he smiles. And you know how army regiments kind of walk with a kind of pistol? Well, no, not a pistol, a rifle. And they have a kind of inspection, roll it out in front
Yeah.
of them, and then roll it back and lock them into the chest.
Yeah.
He kind of puffs out his chest, smiles sideways at you as he holds the umbrella, and as he begins to march to the foot of the table, he begins to spiral and spin it and twirl it around. In the small little cabin space he has, he does an artisan-style performance of twirling it around his wrist, flashing it forward and back as he then closes his eyes and simply, as he lets go, it flies out from his hands and he gives a gasp. And as it goes to the other side, looking like it was about to blast through out of the stained glass sort of backside of the ship, the parasol opens and it lands going down with the stick going into a perfectly allocated sort of umbrella holder. It remains open, but the feat is no less remarkable.
Is this guy a level 20 bard?
Who's to say? But with that, he gives a chuckle as he basically goes, "Yes, I know, but back in my heyday, I could have done that with 3 all at once. So I've really let myself go."
So you don't perform anymore?
Oh, well, I do. I make a bit of a theatrical opener for my lovely entourage that comes after me. But, no, otherwise, I don't know. Sorry, I don't
He's
see.
the
This is why I
ringmaster.
need company, you know? Company helps you talk, and talking helps you keep adequate with local terms. I've been kind of down south with some of the Lanternese, if you've ever heard of them. Magnificent people, excellent inventors. They're responsible for the nimble rights that I have on my crew. Hey, yes, please come forward, he says as he motions towards a nimble right rather, not the one you saw before, but another one that is adorned in a waiter's outfit, a very sharp waiter's outfit, what you would imagine a French waiter's outfit in, with a white apron, a black shirt, and a white sort of inner shirt to go along with it. And he also has put a stick-on handlebar mustache to him, no sideburns. And he basically goes and he says, "Please present your glasses to him." And the Nimblewrought as he comes by, whether you lift your glasses or not, goes to delicately and carefully pour wine and decants it into your various glasses. And Zod basically goes, "See, look, fascinating. You could wiggle that glass around and he'll follow it and he'll be able to pour quite adequately. They have a stillness that's rather endearing, I find. So centered and calm."
No,
Yeah,
that's great.
An amazing
That-
creation.
Yeah, that
Have you
is
had them
what
for long?
Quite,
How many nimble rides do you have working for you or
Mm.
with you? I don't know.
He finishes a drink he was having as he eagerly goes forward and goes, "Good question. We have 4 in our service, though I guess that's a bit of a spoiler. I have to ask you don't tell the rest of the communities, as we're hoping to surprise them on the Day of Wonders. As far as they
Right,
know, we
okay,
have
yeah.
none."
then
Okay,
what
don't
we
worry. Your secret is safe with us.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad I could trust you.
if you
Yeah, as a
if you
difficult
didn't
I
want
am,
them,
but trustworthy.
What's that?
if you're trying to keep them a secret, well, I mean, we saw one of them walking around outside your ship,
Oh well.
outside one of the ships.
You can they have to be allowed some roaming. I wouldn't keep one in a cage. No, I mean even this one here, obedient and loyal as he is, he doesn't deserve to be just tucked away at the end of a work day. No, he should see. He takes a sigh as he kind of looks at it as he goes, he should be allowed to see the horizon of the ocean stretch out before him, or at least see the sunset as it reflects off the water so beautifully. Even if his life is a simple one, he should be allowed at least some of the simple sights that this beautiful world has to offer. Don't you agree?
Oh, definitely. And can I insight check you?
Oh, I love it. I knew you were right, Manticore. Yes, you can absolutely insight him.
Ah, shit.
Oh, this man. He's something special. He has a heart of gold, and he's a philanthropist. He's just he has such a beautiful outlook on the world, and who would have thought that Nimblewrights, these creations, have such beauty to them? I'm gonna continue this with Punk's role. God, just what a nice man, and he means. Oh, you can't wait to see his performance. If he has this kind of genuine wonder and sweetness to him, then any show he puts on must be a carnival unlike any that's been put on before. Let him blow the competition away. This is a truly remarkable gem of a man, the likes of which the Sword Coast has never seen before. And he should be treasured and renowned for it. And you respect him. Respect him as you continue to talk on.
Yeah, so Megara sort of says, "It's yeah, well, when we saw the nimble rat, I was rather interested, and I'm surprised that you invited us here just from our interest in that nimble rat."
Well, while I do want to keep some things a secret, like I said, I hadn't really got to entertain many of the Waterhavians around here, and I wanted some guests. That's genuinely what I wanted. I wanted some guests. Anyway.
Well, then I will be the most pleasant guest you've ever had.
Yeah, let us be your guest.
You know what? He just goes, that makes me. I'm gonna keep a note of that. I think that could actually make a great musical number.
Yeah, I was just about to say. He starts. Be our guest.
Well, he
be our
kind
guest.
of hums it. He goes,
Yes.
bum, bum, dun, dun, bum, 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 ba, da, da, ba, ba, da, ba, da, 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 ba. Jerry, I've got a new song for tomorrow. Don't let me forget.
Maybe
Anyway.
you could have some automatons perform.
Ha! Oh my goodness, that's actually too fitting.
Yeah.
Anyway, he just goes, I will absolutely have to make note of what's your names? I need to get some characters in the show now that absolutely reflect you in this.
I'm Megara.
Megara, a pleasure to meet you, miss.
I'm Taki.
Taiki?
It's from where I am from. It's called Taki.
Oh, Taki. Okay, I can do Taki. Miss
I'm
Mr.
Mag.
Magnus, was that right?
Yeah.
Very well, well. And what about you, brave little kobold? What's your name?
Punk.
Punk. An absolute pleasure to meet you. Well, please sit back and enjoy the food. And as you guys wine and dine casually, Zard goes forward and basically continues as he explains that this trio of ships are mine. We're a company, a carnival based in Luskan, and we travel the Sword Coast, providing good, wholesome entertainment in the form of some fantastical street parades. We're trying to get ourselves very well known for it, and we've had very warm receptions as far as we've gone. The Heartbreaker and Hellraiser you've seen at the docks. They transport the entertainers, the wagons, and the parade floats. All of which can't show the public as they are only to be released on the Day of Wonders. But as for this is my own private ship that I follow the carnival with, which always makes me feel at home. I always feel at home on the Eye Catcher. I always visit Lantern. I don't know if I've already mentioned this, but it's a distant island. I visit there at least once a year, and the Lanternese are expert craftsmen. They really do some magnificent work. But when we're not marching in the parade, these Nimblewrights do stay aboard the ships. They're perfectly harmless, as you can see. And you can see that the Nimblewright in the corner does actually continue to hold the wine bottle and give a gentle affirmative nod as he basically looks up and down.
Oh, I can totally understand the desire to make use of your talent. To like, I myself, I'm a simple chef and baker, and I'm trying to build a restaurant.
Oh, please,
I
enough
would
of this
love
simple baker. You are an artisan of a craft. You also are a gifted one, and one who puts her heart in what you do. Believe me, that's not something to just put down as being simple. You even begin to see his eyes water as he's putting such heartfelt emphasis to this, as he goes, never talk down about your own craft. Your work is beautiful, always and forever, and never put yourself down for what you truly work hard into.
So Megara is in love with this guy.
Yeah.
Does Megara feel inspired now?
Yeah, she's got
Is
that
it-
she's got that fire in her eyes.
This guy is as deep as a monk, and I'm a monk, and I found this his words to be very deep in.
Oh, but it can be so hard, especially when so much trouble just seems to happen.
All trouble in life is an opportunity. Once you come on the other side of it, as I absolutely have no doubt that you will look back on this moment and you'll remember excuse me, I need to catch up with how seriously I'm role-playing this. You'll catch up to remember how impossible you found it all in the beginning. But you did it anyway. You didn't expect much, but I know greatness is within you. It's within everyone that puts love in their craft. And it comes through, and it will always be recognized. I haven't tried any of your baking, but I already know in the way that you talk about your own craft that you are a skilled artisan that deserves nothing less but true, wholehearted admiration for such dedicated work.
And she always uses the most delicate materials. I can tell you that from experience.
Oh, nice.
from like the most prominent sewers of this city.
Oh god.
Ah,
Yes, it's unfortunate. The restaurant at which I'm trying to build up was just. Oh, there was such a tragedy there.
oh no, my dear, please. What happened?
Oh, there was an attack outside. Some assailant with a fireball blew up innocent people, and now my work may suffer a loss of reputation.
He kind of takes a moment as you can clearly see that his jaw is tense and he kind of bites on his own teeth as he just goes, it's, it never ceases to frustrate me the lengths and breadths people do to undermine, inadvertently or advertently, undermine undermine those that seek to add something to this world. It's a never-ending plight, I promise you, that continues to wear us down. But don't let it, Megara. Don't let it. Ignore it, dismiss it, brush it off because you're so much stronger than anything that comes by. Don't care what came by. Eggs at the door or naysayers. Forget them all. Let them be buried at the bottom of this very harbour. You're so much above it.
And I am going to do an insight.
Oh, certainly.
I'll do it too.
Sure. Go on, Pong. Well, oh wait, I think I see that insight. So anyway, he's just a very impassionate man. I mean,
Okay.
his wording may have been a little bit suspicious, but that's just me role-playing him, you know?
Yeah.
He's not saying go out and murder all the naysayers.
Yeah.
It's just simply
no-
like he's just impassioned and frustrated at the way people just undermine themselves. But, you know, the tone can easily be changed back to something less creepy.
Yeah, I was aiming more towards that maybe he might have known something about that.
Oh, I
attack.
see. No, he doesn't. No, he's learning this for the first time.
Okay then. Huh. That just raises so many questions.
What, the insight check or what?
Well, yeah, if I am to believe the insight check that he doesn't know, then
No, he genuinely doesn't know.
maybe I just misread the hesitation on that nimble right, and we've gone into a red herring situation.
Right now, it feels very much like that is the case.
Excuse me, Zod.
Please, absolutely, yes.
You said you have 4 nimble rides, like working for you or with you, right? Did you acquire all of them in London? Is London? You said
Yes,
these
the island of
Londonese
Lantern.
people.
That's correct.
I've taken a special interest in these creatures. Like, do you think I could meet them? Maybe
Do you think you could make them?
meet them in person. Like, see them.
The nimble rights?
Yeah.
Yes, but of course. It would have to be after hours, but I mean, they are also busy practicing. But
Oh, certainly at the time of your convenience.
certainly, I think we could arrange something. He kind of thinks about it and goes, yes, I think we could arrange something very special, yes.
Awesome, great. When do you think this could be?
Okay. How does the next 4 days sound?
When you say the next 4 days, do you mean like over the course of the next 4 days, or at whatever time?
At the end of on the 4th day, the nimble rights shall be available for your personal time, and you can chat with them if you like.
Right.
This sounds absolutely wonderful. I am actually
Megara.
thinking.
Megara, you basically catch him as he gives you a wink. It's not a I'm going to fucking murder you in your bed wink,
Yeah.
but it is like a I got a surprise planned. Trust me, kind of wink.
Okay. Yeah. She looks like, oh, this sounds wonderful. I'm actually thinking maybe I should try and go to Lantern and get some nimble rights to help with the tavern.
Nimble rights for the tavern. Well, if you've got the coin, I would be more than happy to escort you myself over the Sword Coast seas, south into the warmer tropical islands. There you can meet the amazing culture yourself and see for yourself firsthand. They'll be more than happy to sell to you, with myself included, of course. But it would be my absolute pleasure to escort you across the world, my dear.
Then I can't wait to see all your nimble rights in action.
Wonderful.
As I
Anyway, with that, you guys wine and dine until you are all stuffed, and after you're stuffed, you wash it down with the most fanciful, fruity wine available. And after you've done with that, you have various forms of chewable bits of herb, like mint, just mint herb, with a collection of little sweet rolls and other small aperitifs of desserts. Very fanciful kind of flan desserts have been set aside as well, that have been managed to keep cold and are served to you on beautiful golden trimmed plates. And after you have utterly stuffed yourselves further and soaked your tongues in beautiful arrays of delicious flavors, you are sadly and solemnly given a fond farewell, and you are bid to depart as you're taken back to the harbour. And what's more, you are surprised to find that 2 individual coaches with drawn horses have been brought to collect you, as the drivers for them basically mention that, open the door for you and say that Lord Zord has paid us in advance for your prompt escort home. And upon entering and upon wearily being taken to Trollskull Manor, you already find that Zord has issued some of the Painters Guild to recover and repair the front of your Trollskull Manor estate, with a little note elegantly written, yours adoringly, Zardoz Zord. And the door has been fixed, and you guys promptly collapse in bed, happy and content as you've ever been. And with sweet sugar plum dreams and fanciful gold filigree outfits and wonderful performing acts, we end today's session.